Good morning. Well, it's Good Friday, and welcome to our Good Friday video. We've got the service coming up soon. The next couple of days, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to bring you some extracts from a book I wrote called Jesus the Life Changer. In this book, I look at biblical passages, events in the Gospels particularly, through the eyes of the people in the story. So I use a little bit of imagination. And this one is quite fitting for Good Friday because I'm looking at the crucifixion through the eyes of Pilate. Power. It is all I ever wanted. I spent years working for it. Every morning I walk around the flat roof of my palace, watch the city, wake and spring into life, reminding myself that I'm the master of all I can see. However, recent events have made me wonder whether things are quite what they seem. In theory, I wield immense power. I rule an important part of the world. But Caesar has put me in my position, and I'm answerable to him. He expects me to supervise the troops, collect taxes, and keep order. If I do my job well, he rewards me. But if I fail, I could pay with my life. And I've already let him down twice before. If rioting were to break out, my position would soon be threatened. And that's why the rule of law is my highest priority, especially at this time of year. Thousands of extra people are pouring into Jerusalem for a festival, which they call the Passover. Reports of crime are rife and murmurs about uprising are whispered under people's breath. And as usual, I've taken the precautions that are necessary, moving troops out of the countryside into the city to bolster the number already stationed there, and paying informants to let me know if anything out of the ordinary is happening. And they came to me and told me about a man who'd been gathering a huge crowd around him. Until now, he's been no cause for concern. Apparently, he captivates people with stories and amazes them with miracles, teaching them about God. There's nothing to suggest he's subversive. Actually, his message is all about forgiveness and love. The people who worry me more are those who believe that God has promised to send them a king who will free them from our rule and will bring them in what they see as freedom and justice. A few days ago, when Jesus arrived in the city, he was greeted like a king. People flocked around him, declared their loyalty, and laid down their palms to make his ride more comfortable. But what was intriguing was that he didn't play the part of a war leader striding into a city. I would have expected a would-be king to ride on a horse. But he came on a donkey. As well as this, I've had reports of the religious leaders ganging up against him, even plotting to kill him. It's now late on Thursday night. Things have taken a turn for the worst. My sources tell me that Jesus has disappeared, and the lights in the building where the council of the religious leaders meet have been burning through the night. Suddenly I become aware of the limits of my power. These people have been given the right to govern religious matters. And if they put Jesus on trial for such a thing, there's nothing I can do. I can't sleep. And I spend the night pacing the floor, waiting for news to come in. At last, something is happening. One of my staff runs into the office to tell me that a group of religious leaders are heading towards my palace, and they have Jesus with them. I look out and see the strange sight of these men in their long flowing gowns leading Jesus to the palace. He's their prisoner, but unlike any I've ever seen. He's not trembling with fear, or seething with hatred, or bristling with resistance. He actually looks in control of the situation. Bizarre. They read at their accusations against him. He is a subversive who opposes payment of taxes to Caesar. Caesar! They hate Caesar. He claims to be their king, but they want a king. And he says that that Jesus claims to be the Son of God. I know nothing of that. Do you have anything to say? I ask him. Silence. I look at this man. He seems anything but subversive, and everything like a king. Are you these people's king? I ask. He looks me straight in the eye. He doesn't even blink. No sign of terror. Yes. It is as you say, he replies. I've heard enough. I return to the group of religious leaders, noticing that a restless crowd has gathered around them. I find no basis for charging this man, I say, with all the authority I can muster. But it's not enough. The things he's been teaching have stirred up people all over the regions. That is what he was doing when he was in the north, and he's carrying it on down here, they say. I'm so relieved that they've talked about the north. It's outside of my area of jurisdiction. So I can rid myself of this problem by sending Jesus to the governor who rules the Northern Territories. So it's time to go to bed. I'm relieved. I've diffused a potentially dangerous situation. My political skill is brilliant. Now it's early Friday morning. I'm woken up by a frantic knock on the door. I drift into consciousness. I can hear my servant's muffled voice. Governor, those religious men are back. They've got a message for you. I quickly put on my robe and go down to meet them. Why are you back? I say angrily. I told you this doesn't concern me. It started in the north. Herod is in charge of this. My servant turns towards me and whispers, Sir, I think you'd better have a look at this before you say anything else. He hands me a letter from Herod, and it says, I cannot find anything wrong with this man, so I am sending him back to you. I read it through and look up. Very well. You better leave him with me. They've left my palace, swelling the crowd that's gathered outside. After some quick thinking, I wonder if I might have a solution. During this feast, it's the custom to release a prisoner. I can go over the heads of these religious men and tell the crowd that I can release Jesus as part of the festival. I go out to talk to them, confident they will welcome the offer of Jesus' release. But their mood is so ugly. They demand I release a terrorist, Barabbas, who was to be crucified today. Away with Jesus, they snarl. I try a different approach and appeal to them to let Jesus go free. There is no wrong in this man. I can't see it. He is innocent. Crucify him, they chant over and over again. Why? What crime do you charge him with? I say to them. I'm going to have him punished. Then I'll release him. Surely that will satisfy them. Surely they don't want his blood. He's a fellow Jew after all. He's been preaching in their synagogues. The punishment handed out by my guards are ferocious. A prisoner will be lashed with a whip and hooks on the end. Some men were known to die from this. But it's not enough. They want Jesus dead. They shout. They scream. And then they say something that really alarms me. If you release him, you are no friend of Caesar's, they say. They must have known my position is precarious. It certainly strikes a chord with me. So I cave in. I cave in, feeling completely powerless. And I order the terrorist release and send Jesus to his death. A terrible death at that. So I return to my palace at the end of the blackest day of my life. My clever schemes have come to nothing. Those religious men who I actually inwardly despise for their hypocrisy. They've outwitted me. My reputation is in tatters. Now quietness looms over the city. The crowd has dispersed. The body of Jesus has been taken down from the cross. The danger of rioting has passed. I have survived the crisis, yet I feel dirty. Can I be honest with you? I've never met a man like him before. He was a prisoner, but made me feel as if I was on trial. I saw no trace of fear in him. No sign of hate. Only peace and compassion. If there ever was a truly innocent man, it was Jesus. And I was powerless to stop